The Houston Rockets are in a very peculiar situation right now because they really don't have enough young talent, in my opinion, to even rebuild. And even their lottery pick might not go back to them if the odds are against them. And their best player, who's 30 years old on a huge contract, is eating up most of their salary cap, meaning that they're really not able to sign that many all-star or even young and upcoming players. And even if they did have money to even sign one of those younger players, they don't have enough team culture and depth to really convince somebody to go to their organization. So yeah, today I'm just gonna break down what they need to do in their offseason, also recapping their offseason moves and what I think the Rockets should do to be successful moving forward. Before I start this video, if you like the type of content, make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to sub. It helps the YouTube algorithm and it is free. I do different type of basketball videos, but I don't just plan to do basketball videos. I might do sports videos on other sports like hockey or baseball. If you like the type of diverse content, be sure to like, be sure to comment, and be sure to sub with noties so you get notified when I post. All right, let's just recap the Houston Rockets season. To put it in short, the Houston Rockets have just had a very non-fortunate, bad season this past year. John Wall literally kept getting hurt and really couldn't play more than like 2 or 3 games without getting re-injured. They had to trade a bunch of guys. A bunch of guys got cut as well. DeMarcus Cousins, Ben McLemore, Justin Patton, guys like that. They brought in a bunch of unknown players that I hadn't really known before the season started. Eric Gordon has been injured for the past like 2 or 3 months. I don't know where he's been. And their coach, Steven Silas, hasn't really proven to me that he can be an even above average coach. Now, there are some positives to this season. Kevin Porter, they got him for, I believe, some sort of second round protected pick, and he looks like he has all-star caliber potential. And of course, Christian Wood, they got him on a steal contract, a 3-year, I believe $41 million contract, which is around $14 million a year. Those are really the only positives I can think of. And also, I forgot about this, but the Houston Rockets aren't even guaranteed their pick. It's kind of complicated, but if the Houston Rockets don't get their pick, their top 3 or 4 protected pick from the Thunder, they instead get the Heat pick, so they're kind of guaranteed a pick. But the Rockets really need this pick more than like other teams. Like, yeah, the Thunder need their pick, the Timberwolves kind of need their pick, but the Rockets really need their pick. They really need a lot of young talent for a team that doesn't really have a lot of talent, let alone young talent, and is kind of a team that right now, management wise, chemistry wise, is a little iffy. Let's get on to the main chunk of this video, and that is who they should pick up in the offseason. So the Houston Rockets are going into this draft with a top 4 protected pick. So in my opinion, if they do have a top 4 protected pick, I think with the first pick, they should draft Cade Cunningham. The second pick, I think they should draft Evan Mobley. Third pick, if they do have it, they should draft Jalen Suggs. And then fourth pick, or fourth option, in my opinion, they should draft Jalen Green. Whoever is available, in my opinion, this is the order that I would draft or prioritize them. But there is a big chance, not a big chance, there is a small chance they don't get their pick back, but there is a chance. If that doesn't happen, they end up going down to the 18th pick and take the Miami Heat's pick. They also still have the 23rd pick and the 24th pick. So with the 18th overall pick, I think they should draft probably someone like Josh Giddey. He's a really good playmaker, and with John Wall being out a lot, I think he could really make a difference. I think what Giddey can bring to the table is as an extra ball handler and playmaker. The Houston Rockets kind of struggled with playmaking, and having a guy who could create for others, that's one of the biggest problems that the Rockets struggled with, is having a guy, again, playmaking wise. I've watched a good amount of NBL games, and he's been leading the league in assists per game. Plus, with John Wall's injury history, I think that Giddey would get a pretty solid amount of run time. And with Giddey, I feel like him and Kevin Porter's playstyle actually fits pretty nicely, as they're both combo guards who could both playmake. And then as for their 23rd and 24th pick, I'd say 24th pick should probably be someone like a small forward, or maybe even Cameron Thomas. He's a volume scorer, and the Rockets could utilize as much offensive talent as possible. And then with the 24th overall pick, I think they should draft somebody like Marcus Bagley. The Rockets' 2 biggest position needs is the small forward and the power forward position. And with a guy like Marcus Bagley, he's kind of versatile when it comes to that. He's 6'8", he's athletic, and has proven to be a pretty good defender. Also think at that 24th pick, Isaiah Todd should be a possibility. He's a really good 3-point shooting big, and even though he's really not good right now, he reminds me a lot of Chris Bosh, to where he takes a lot of jump shots, but he has a solid ball handling ability. He's athletic and shows a lot of defensive promise. I think that if, you know, they could potentially draft him at 23 or 24, those are some of the prospects I think that they should target this NBA draft. And finally, moving on to the main part of the video, and that is the staff signing and offseason. I probably should have did staff signing before the draft because it does occur before it. But for staff, I'd say the only things is target Masai Ujiri. I think he's on the block for a free agency. But outside of that, I really wouldn't get anybody else on my staff. I would give Steven Silas another year because even though, yes, he didn't look like that great of a coach, he wasn't really dealt with a lot. So I would try to give him another year, and if he looks like a bad coach again, then I might think about shopping a new head coach. But moving on to the main portion of the video, and that is the free agency. Looking at the numbers, the Houston Rockets have around $12 million to spend on free agents, and if they do not pick up Avery Bradley's team option, which I don't see them doing, they're going to have an extra $6 million, which would bring their total to $18 million to spend on free agents. With that $18 million, the Rockets are going to have to be very meticulous with who they sign in this offseason. Now, some of the guys on the chopping block include Kelly Olynyk. There's also Dante Exum, DJ Wilson, Sterling Brown, Nwaba, of course, also Anthony Lamb and Armani Brooks. Out of those guys, I think that DJ Wilson, Olynyk, Sterling Brown, and Armani Brooks should be some of the guys they target. Olynyk, I really wouldn't pay anything over $10 million, so I doubt he's going to resign, since I don't think he's going to resign for that little of a contract. I think he's going to probably want to resign for what he's making, which is around $12 million a year. For DJ Wilson, he showed a lot of promise as a stretch big. He's athletic, and they kind of need a big man presence. And as for Armani Brooks and Sterling Brown, they're both two good three-point shooters who are also solid defenders. Especially Armani Brooks, he is a restricted free agent, I believe, so they will be able to re-sign him, I think. But Sterling Brown isn't, so I think they should probably offer him somewhere around like $3 million. And then with DJ Wilson, I'd say somewhere around $4 or $5 million, because he does have a lot of potential, so you have to take that into consideration. As for the free agency, this free agency is actually very depthful and has a lot of talent. However, the problem with it is that the Rockets aren't in a position to receive any of that talent. Like guys like Kawhi Leonard, DeMar DeRozan, Chris Paul, Mike Conley, those guys aren't going to be interested in a team like the Rockets, just because Rockets don't have anything over $18 million to offer them, and their situation right now is pretty bad. They don't have great team chemistry, and they haven't built up a winning culture, or they don't have a lot of depth either. And not only that, but a lot of younger players who have a lot of potential, like Lonzo Ball, John Collins, Jared Allen, Lauri Markkanen, they're all restricted free agents, so it's going to be unlikely that any of those teams would just let them leave in free agency. Even if those guys do want to leave, I can see potentially Lauri Markkanen leaving. It'll most likely be in a trade, not just a straight up signing. Who knows, maybe the Rockets can get a guy like Lauri Markkanen, but outside of that, I don't really see them trading for any of those young guys. But I do think there is some depth in this offseason. Off the top of my head, Otto Porter, Kelly Oubre, Evan Fournier, and Tim Hardaway should all be targets. Now, with Tim Hardaway and Otto Porter, I don't think they're going to leave their teams. I think that Otto Porter is going to take a less pay cut than what he's making right now, because no team's going to offer him $26 million. But Tim Hardaway, I think he's going to resign. If he is on the block, I think that they should offer him money, but I don't think they should offer him anything too much, more than like $14 million. But as for some of the realistic ones, again, Oubre, he's more of a hype guy. He's all around a pretty good player, so I would probably try to target him, but again, nothing over $14 million. Then Evan Fournier is also an offensive player, but again, nothing under or over $14 million, because I wouldn't want to splurge on one of these guys. There are a couple of other role players I think they could get. Nicholas Batum and Tony Snell. They're great 3-and-D guys and have been shooting the ball from three at a really efficient rate. There's also Patty Mills, who's a veteran. Again, veteran presence is what the Rockets need. Their team's really young, so I think they should use some type of veteran to kind of guide their young players and also help make them a winning team. Tim Birch and Harry Giles, especially Harry Giles, he should be the main target for the Rockets. They should just throw a lot of money at him because he's a phenomenal rim protector, great rebounder, and he's only, I believe, 23 years old. And there's also some guys like Doug McDermott who can also shoot the three ball. Overall, the Rockets, I don't see them basically turning around into like a top 5 team, unless, of course, John Wall can stay healthy. They make meticulous plays in the offseason, and they get lucky in the draft, which I doubt that all 3 of those things are going to happen. I think most likely the Rockets are going to try to target being a play-in tournament team or even a playoff caliber team. Free agency, they should just build on their depth. Get some veterans. Yeah, try to make a winning basketball team, because I know, yes, it is kind of tempting for them to rebuild, but they can't really rebuild at this point in time. Like, Wall's making way too much money. So I'd say they just should try to compete, and I think that the Rockets could potentially have a good offseason. With that being said, that's the end of this video. Don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe, turn on the noties, follow the socials, and I'm out.